Hello, my name is Sean and welcome back to another episode. We're going to keep working our way at the origami lampshade that I'm making. I want to go through in this video how I make the Sonobe unit, the tips and tricks to making the unit, easy pitfalls and things that can be, should be avoided. I mean, it seems simple enough, but there's actually lots of little things that can go wrong here, and I'm actually going to cut right now and get to the action. Not sure how the voiceover is going to be done, but I'm going to do the best I can. This is the first time I've ever done this, so please, folks, please bear with me. But yeah, I hope you enjoy, and I hope this teaches you how to make your own Sonobe unit. Alright, to start off, we're actually going to do the example with a 15 centimeter square sheet of paper. I'm just going to use a blue piece of paper in this case. What you're going to do is you're going to start off with your sheet of paper, and we're going to fold it in half, lengthwise, not on the angle. Now you may be watching me what I'm doing here. I'm actually, to help make sure I've got it square in the corner, I press the paper towards this finger and towards this finger, and that's how I know I'm going to get a nice square edge. And also line it up. Doing it this way allows you to start doing it without watching what you're doing. You can actually turn your head away. One of the things I'll often do while I'm working on projects using the Sonobe base, if I have to make thousands of pieces, is I will actually just sit there, pop on a YouTube video, a movie, something like that, and just fold by feel entirely without looking at it. So once we fold it in half, we're going to fold it in half again, down here and down here. And the line that we folded in the middle will act as a guide. What I will do also to help make sure, it'll be a little hard to show you, but I'll actually use the 90-degree angle that forms when this piece is folded up, and by feel I will know I've got it in the right place. This is, by the way, guys, incredibly awkward for me. I have never, ever in my life folded with a camera in the way, and it is it's a new experience. I'm always up for a challenge. I'm just going to crease that down. You can see we've got split in the quarters, and we'll repeat that on the other side here, because what we want to do is create the base. Sorry as I get the paper in the way there. Now, one of the things I do want to point out, with the scale we're currently working on making this example, it's a 15 by 15 centimeter square sheet of paper. Squareness of the paper isn't as important when you're making larger units like this. It doesn't matter if it's off by a little bit, because in the end, a millimeter on this side or a millimeter on this side, throwing it from a perfect square to the slightly off square, isn't a big deal. But when you're working with smaller paper, like I am in this, with this is the size of one of the sheets of paper I am folding. It is 21 millimeters. We compare that in size. It's tiny. Oop, I knocked the tripod. It is downright minuscule. So with this, if you're off by a couple, like a millimeter, even a fraction of a millimeter, the camera will not focus on my fingers, I apologize. It can cause huge ramifications for you when you're folding and throw it off completely from being square. In that case, what I will often do is look at the sheet of paper, figure out where it's off just by looking at it. Yes, when you've been doing this, you can start telling when something is off by a fraction of a millimeter. And I'll make sure to fold in a way that the excess is cut off, or if it looks like it's short, so the stubby bit will be hidden. And I'll show you what I mean in a minute. Let's get back to folding here. As you can see, we've got everything folded here. This is the first bit of warning I can give you guys if you're going to make these. If you're making this unit, it can only think of what's it's called in chemistry, it's called chirality, and it's the idea of something being mirrored image but not superimposable. And the best example of that would be your hands. Your hands are chiral. You have a left and a right, and they are a mirror image of each other, but if we try and superimpose it, it doesn't work. You see my thumbs are not in the same position when we put one over top the other. That can happen with these units. So if you're going to be folding hundreds, 2000s, or even just a few of these, it's important to decide very early on what you're going to do. I always choose to fold the lower right hand corner. So with this example, we're going to choose the lower right hand corner. And I've got an example after this of what happens if you don't consistently choose the same spot. So again, we'll fold up and we'll use this corner to help guide us. We want to get that nice and tight along there and get a nice little 45-degree angle fold. And press down. By the way, this is a tile from when the bathroom was redone. Nothing amazing, it's a nice flat surface. It allows me to fold around. You can use your table. I like this because it's got some weight to it. If I'm sitting on the couch folding, I can just toss it on the cushion. Have no problems. Now we'll keep it simple. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to fold this flap over on the pre-existing crease we've created. We're going to fold it down to meet the edge of this flap, and it's going to run along the edge of this fold. So we're just going to fold that down. That should create a nice little point. Remember what I said, it doesn't matter too much when you're working with bigger pieces if they're a little off square. It's only when you're working with tiny things that it really matters. That's pretty simple, right? So we're going to repeat this process on the other side. So we're going to unfold this. We can leave this folded down. It's important it stays that way. I apologize if you can hear the furnace starting up. Like I said, I'm not really sure how to do this whole recording thing with origami. Everyone else makes it look easy. So we're just going to repeat this and fold it in. Give it a tiny little tab again. I'm going to fold this side down again, leaving that flap nice and secure. I'm going to fold in. Nothing amazing. So you can do it. If you are following along, I hope you enjoy it. Pretty simple. So we've got this shape again, we've got this folded over. So we're going to fold this side up. And just give it a little crease, make sure it's in there nice and tight. And now that we've got this flap here, what we want to do is we want to tuck this piece of the paper into the little pocket we have right here. We're just going to pop our finger in to help open it up, see? I'm just going to open it up. We're going to tuck this in here. And that's all there is to it. And that is a Sonobe unit. This, if you were folding a typical Sonobe unit, you would continue folding this by taking this point here and folding it up to this corner here, like so. And what this would do is it would create a self-interlocking pocket. But we actually stop for the process of making the lamp. We're going to stop one step before, so we won't fold these up. But this is a traditional Sonobe unit. And then, so these ends, I've got a spare piece here for making a traditional unit. Wrong one. They just tuck into the pocket, and that's how they securely fit. And we'll be doing something similar with the lampshade, but this creates a locking mechanism where it's actually a little difficult to pull out, and they'll all interlock together and eventually make a harlequin pattern kind of cool. Just straighten out these creases. But this is how you do the basic Sonobe use. Now, what I'd mentioned before about the chirality can be demonstrated here. As you can see, these two pieces, both Sonobe units. This one was folded using the left-hand corner very early on in that step when we made that little flap. I chose the left-hand corner, and this one was with the right-hand corner. So you can see, even though they're identical, they don't feed into each other properly. They don't tuck in right. It just doesn't work. So you do have to watch for that, and you do have to be careful. It's a quick and easy mistake. And if you're making thousands of these and you find out you've made a few too many of these, you'll be a little upset with the extra work you have to do. But now, I want to get to the assembly. So what's going to happen is, ignore these lines here that I've made. That was just to show you. Well, the way we create the image on the lampshade and how each one of these is going to be a pixel is, if you notice, actually this is a good example, you can see where we've folded these lines. If we cover those up, that creates a square, just like a pixel. And we're going to use that for our lampshade. So what we'll do is we'll tuck one corner in, and to be safe, I use just a regular old glue stick will work. This is actually a rice paste glue stick. I've picked these up from a store I love to shop at called the Paper Place in Toronto. We're only going to glue this a little bit because we want to make sure it holds its place. The reason why I use rice glue, by the way, is it stays tacky for a little longer. It's not particularly messy. So we're just going to slide this in here. Now we're going to want to make sure that when we tuck it in, it's at 90 degrees. On the larger scale here, it's pretty easy. Like I said, it being off by in squareness a little bit isn't a big deal. But if I want to make sure something is square, I'll often grab, in this case I use a metal ruler, and I will just place it into the corner here and make sure it's square, and that looks like it's square. So now I know it's in the right place. Gotta press down. And this is one of the two-piece units that I use to make. I've got another two-piece unit here. Now if you remember, on my blueprints that I use to keep track of things, I had mentioned earlier I'd explain these red squares. This is what I was referring to, the four-piece units. To make that, we just slide one into the other. We would glue it. Again, I've done these before without glue, and it works, but it's really difficult. And when you're dealing with an assembled piece, it's just so much easier. And this gives you an idea of what the assembled four-piece unit would look like. So it's really simple. I'm going to show you here on this scale and the progress I've made so far. So by doing the four-piece units, I can keep track of what I have done and what I have left to work on. So you can see here, I've got the 1, 2 black, 2 white, 4 white, 4 white, 4 white. So my next piece here will be another 4 white unit. That'll just go in there. And then a 2 white, 2 black. When you're assembling this, what I'll also do is I'll often keep the ruler on hand just to make sure the edges are straight. And then the nice thing about this tile is I know it has 90 degrees, so I'll often line up the edge of the paper to make sure it's square. As you can see, this side here is starting to veer off a little bit. You can actually use a little bit of play to straighten this out as you go along. But it is difficult when you're at this size because, like I said, when you go to this size, the scale is, it's very difficult to keep things perfectly straight and perfectly sized and equally sized. Because if we look at this piece here, even though I've taken incredible precautions to keep things at 90 degrees. This one side right here, you can actually see it's probably at like 88 or 87 degrees. It's not 90. This side is, this side is. So even though I've taken so much precaution in assembling, still got that one there that it's gonna bite me, but I'll work with it and I'll figure it out. And the assembly for the main unit here is just like the other ones. Put a little bit of glue. Put a little bit of glue. I'm gonna set that there and try and remember where we put the glue. Put a little bit of glue there. I'm actually gonna push that tab up just so I don't get glue on the rest. Just a quick little dab. I'm gonna look for the glue here. So I'm actually going to flip it upside down. This is what the back side of it looks like. And this is going to be super annoying to try and fit in. White paper is incredibly hard to see where the slots fit in. It's easier with colored paper, but white paper for some reason is always a nuisance to try and feed this in. I'm just going to slide that in. Give it a little press. Give it a little press. And if we look, give it one more little push in, and I'll push down. And I knock that over. As you can see, got that done. So we've got this third row here. I've actually started with this corner down. Over that point right there. That's where this next one will go, is right here. So hope you guys enjoyed. Hopefully in the next video we'll do a little bit more. I'll have the shade done. It might be a little while till the next video comes out, so I'm sorry about that. But we'll get the shade done, and then I will hopefully record getting the lamp pieces put together, getting the base made. I'm not really sure what's going to happen next, but I hope you enjoy regardless. And until I see you again, please take care of yourselves, and I hope everyone of you have a great day. Bye-bye.